First up, guys, Fiesta Bowl. You guys have a strong take on this. I think it's really interesting. Femi, I'll give you first word here. Penn State's a 10.5-point favorite against Boise, 52.5 the total. What do you make of this game, and have you bet it yet, Femi?
I have bet this game. I went ahead and bet this game the minute that SMU Penn State concluded. I think this number is short. Like, I get it. Like, Ashton Genty is awesome, and Boise State magical season. This is just another level. And I think what a lot of people will do, they'll point to that data point of Boise State playing Oregon early in the season and being like, wow, well, they played Oregon to a field goal game at Autzen Stadium. Why can't they be competitive against Penn State? Well, that was also like a 17.5-point spread or whatever. Now you're having to, they need to be competitive in this game. And also, Penn State's defensive line is better than Oregon's defensive line. I don't know if anybody's been watching the Nittany Lions. Abdul Carter, number 11, like the next Micah Parsons, essentially. Like, they have dudes on that defensive line, and they control the line of scrimmage in pretty much every game they play, unless they're playing one of the big teams like Ohio State or Oregon. So I think Penn State's going to dominate Boise State in the trenches. Boise State, they're built like a Mountain West team. Penn State's built like a team that's going to win a national title, just looking at their actual talent and their recruiting profile. I think this is a complete mismatch. I think the Nittany Lions shut down Genty. I laid the 10. I'd still lay 10.5. I'd lay anything under 14. I think the Nittany Lions roll in the Fiesta Bowl. Like, this game, to me, it feels like it's not going to be close.
Tyler, agree or disagree with Femi's very strong take and a bet to back it up on Penn State being the right side against Boise?
Yep, I bet Penn State the minute this game opened. Just to add on to what Femi said, like, this Oregon-Boise State game was in September. Oregon is like not what they are now. Oregon won by 10 points the week before against Idaho. Like, they were still figuring out their entire offense. They had a new quarterback, new running back, new receivers. They were still trying to figure out all this stuff. The talent gap in this Boise State-Penn State game, in my opinion, is going to be as large as we've ever seen in a playoff game. Penn State is one of the most loaded rosters in the country, and Boise State has been hanging on for dear life at the end of the season. I think if Penn State can score every possession, all Boise State wants to do is run the ball and control clock. I don't think they're going to be able to do that here. I love Penn State minus 10.5. I think I'm selling points. I think Penn State kills them.
Ooh. Okay. So listen, you guys have worked with me for long enough, known me for long enough. If I bet Penn State and it doesn't, and Boise covers, I'm not going to come to you guys and be like, I mean, I will just for fun, but kind of like when you guys like Tampa to beat Detroit over Tampa week 2 in Survivor. Do I need to bet Penn State?
I think you need to bet Penn State.
Okay,
absolutely.
So now, solidarity.
Now let's say it this way, because we laid 10, it's 10.5 right now. Like, where do we think the market's gonna go? That's the big question. Like, are people more interested in Boise State? Are they more interested in Penn State?
I don't know, Lee Corso. What do you think? I was 0-4. Who cares what I think? What do you think?
I think that you're going to see people that maybe make the case to fade James Franklin. I think that's going to be wrong. I think that's wrong. So maybe you can hang out and chill because, like I said, I'd lay anything under 14. At this point, whether you lay 10.5 or 11.5, I think it's all the same. It's just it's going to be a blowout regardless. But what if you get a 9.5 or a 10? If you get anything under that in that range, I think you go ahead and get the better numbers. So, but you don't have to bet it now. If you want to bet it now, go ahead. But I think Penn State's the right side in the game at these prices that are going to be available.
All right, well, hopefully we are going to cover the spread together with Penn State and Boise State. I'll join you guys, and I'll bet Penn State. I'm going to wait. Yeah, I like that. We will cover the line. Yeah. Honestly,
we will.
Someone should talk to them and have them change the slogan. Instead of we are, it should say we will. We will. Penn State doesn't make any sense, but we will win. You bet. That magnificent football Monday. Peach Bowl. Femi, Texas. This opened 13, I want to say, or 13.5. Now we're up to 14. Mm-hmm. So the Longhorns, coming off the 14-point win against Clemson this past weekend, laying 14 against Arizona State in the Peach Bowl. The total is 52.5.
This is another one to where I just struggled to see. If Arizona State cannot run the ball, how does Arizona State generate enough points to keep this game competitive? Because their big whole thing, like Cam Scatterbo, who's a tremendous running back and is probably going to play in the NFL next year, he's the guy that's kind of been the focal point of that offense. That works against these Big 12 defenses and these Big 12 teams. I don't think that's going to work against Texas, to which the Texas Longhorns run defense is probably the best thing about their team. Their defensive line is awesome. Sark has done a tremendous job recruiting that position, and we saw them flex their muscles against Clemson. Clemson's a better team than Arizona State, in my opinion. That's no shade to the Sun Devils. The Big 12 was down. They took care of business. They won the conference. But if I had to bet the game, I would lay the 14. I haven't done it yet because I'm just not in love with laying those kind of points, especially with Quinn Ewers at quarterback. But right now, it's a lean towards Texas because I don't think it's ever going to be Arizona State, not at these numbers. I think I'd need 17 or something like that to consider betting the Sun Devils.
All right, so Femi on both favorites. Tyler, you liked Penn State. Are you going to make this 2 for 2 on the favorites here with Texas?
I do like Texas. I haven't made a bet in this game. My initial thought when I saw the market is like, how many points is Texas going to score? I think they can kind of name it. Team total is 33.5, so maybe we think they're going to. Arizona State's defense is not great. I do struggle with seeing how Arizona State's going to score, but I think Texas could name their score here. So initially, I like the team total over for Texas.
All right, so yeah.
Well, TT over.
Where do we feel like the market's going here? Like, I feel like Texas is going to continue to get bet based off people I've talked to.
Wouldn't surprise me if that happened. I mean, big brand team. Yeah.
I'm gonna end up betting a little on Texas here just to make sure I get the 14 to be able to lay 14. All right.
Yeah.
I think this is the national title game. I think the winner of the Rose Bowl is going to win the title with Ohio State and Oregon. Ohio State, kind of like Stella, got its groove back on Saturday night against Tennessee following the Michigan loss. A 2.5-point favorite on this neutral side. This is the game of the. It might be the game of the tournament here. Ohio State 2.5 Femi against Oregon 53.5 the total.
My strategy with this game is going to be to wait and see if this gets to 3 and bet the Oregon Ducks. Like, I think that this is such a fascinating setup because all last week in the build-up to the Tennessee-Ohio State game, nobody wanted anything to do with the Buckeyes. It was like, oh, Ryan Day's under so much pressure. This team is not very good. Or not the team is very good, but they're just underachievers and all that. And then, like, we saw the betting market close to kickoff slamming Tennessee to where, like, Ohio State got bet to 8 and immediately that got bet down to 7. Like, I think there's a lot of interest towards Ohio State. At least there wasn't last week. Now everyone's back on board with the Buckeyes. I think Oregon's going to play up this whole, like, we're being disrespected card. Like, this whole, like, everyone says we have this tough path and everyone's kind of counting us out as the #1 team in the country. In a coin flip game, I'll go ahead and take the points with the Oregon Ducks. Like, they beat them before. Why can't they beat them again, especially in Pac-12 territory in the West Coast? I think at 3, it's a bet on the Oregon Ducks for me.
Tyler, agree or disagree? Oregon and Ohio State.
I love the over in this game. Oregon's last 5 games, the total points, 82, 70, 19. That game was against Wisconsin, 57 and 55. I'm a little worried about Oregon's defense here. I think Ohio State might have found something with they threw the ball more than I thought they would against Tennessee, and it worked super effective. I mean, they scored over 40 points. I like the over in this game, especially with the way Oregon dictates the tempo, and they play so fast, faster than most teams in the country. I think there could be a ton of points scored in this game. I believe there was 65 in the first game, so I love the over.
I like the over also, and I think Ohio State's going to win. Now, do we think the market's going, like, is this ever going to 3? And if it goes to 3, is it lasting for more than, like, 30 seconds? That's not a leading question. I'm curious what you guys think. I don't have the answer.
I think it goes to 3, but then it doesn't last very long. But I don't think it's going to be only, like, 30 seconds. I think that it might hang out there for about half hour. Maybe an hour at most. Man. I feel like a lot will just take things a really close game. I feel like the 3s would get bet. So I don't dislike your thought on betting 3 with taking 3 with Oregon. I think Ohio State's the best team. I think Ohio State's going to win the title. It gives me no pleasure to say that. I want them to lose. Like, I don't like them. I grew up in New York. Like, I don't care. Just saying, like, I think Ohio State's kind of annoying, but I also think Ohio State's the best team. They annihilated Tennessee on set. Tennessee's not a bad team. I'm going to end up with a ticket on Ohio State here. I think Ohio State's going to win the national championship. And let's close, guys, with the Sugar Bowl. Gunner Stockton in Georgia, 1.5 against Notre Dame. Total's 44.5. Femi, you know Notre Dame's been a hot pick, like, to make the championship game or win the title from people we've had on the show. What do you make of this game? Yeah, everyone's been picking Oregon versus Notre Dame or Ohio State versus Notre Dame for the national title, maybe Texas Notre Dame as well. I'm going to be on the Georgia side, and I'm going to make Notre Dame and Marcus Freeman, and they make that team prove to me that they can actually win a big game against a big-time opponent. Like, lost in the whole Notre Dame-Indiana game is the fact that Notre Dame's passing game is still pretty mid. Like, it's not good. Riley Leonard's a great athlete, but he's not a passer. And I think that Georgia, knowing that, they're going to stack the box and challenge him to actually make throws down the field, and he's not going to be able to do it. And Marcus Freeman might cower. And I think Kirby Smart is going to get his team ready to roll. He's a psychopath. 100% they have Gunner Stockton ready to play in this game. He's a 5-star recruit, by the way. This isn't some walk-on that they just picked up at the local gym in Athens. Like, Gunner Stockton's a big-time recruit. All this time to lead up to this game, I think Georgia gets it done. I'll bet Georgia to win the game on the money line.
Tyler?
It's the new QB who this spot. This is what I'm put on earth for. And I agree with Femi. Like, Gunner Stockton's been with the program for like over a year and a half. This is like, I'd rather him than an injured Carson Beck. If Carson Beck's playing, I don't want to bet Georgia. I want no part of it. Give me a fully healthy Carson Beck, and fully healthy Gunnar Stockton. I'll take Georgia.
This does seem like a great Georgia spot, doesn't it?
Nobody believed in us, as they're a 2-point favorite.
Now let me ask: does the new QB who dis spot work? Given that he played like a half in the SEC championship game and like some of overtime.
It's a fair point, but we haven't seen him in the full game.
So this is it does. So this does qualify as a new QB who dis spot.
Yeah, he's got to start. He's got to start.
New starter who dis?
I mean,
yeah,
dude,
there you go.
It's Kirby laying 1.5 against Marcus Freeman.
With time to prepare.
I mean, I'll pay to see how I'm wrong.
You know what? You sold the hell out of me. I'm in. Okay, so Georgia, Ohio State, Texas, and Penn State.
Hell of a Final Four.
Oh, like all 4 favorites after last weekend? What could go wrong?